Hello and welcome to another video. I'm back again to tackle the matter of extended RAM. Yes, extended RAM has grown in leaps and bounds since my last video that I made. You'll find it, don't worry, as we continue you'll see it on your screen, right? Because I'm going to point it out very soon. Now, extended RAM is very misunderstood. Let's use that term. Extended RAM is very misunderstood by a lot of people. I mean, initially, before I even took the time to find out what it actually meant, when I heard the term extended RAM, what my mind was telling me was that maybe there was some way to extend the physical RAM using software to make it bigger, and so etc, etc. But after serious research last year, and I think I put out a video on the topic, I've written several posts on the topic, and I recently tackled it on my Telegram, on my Facebook, on YouTube here, and so on and so forth. But I still feel that I should make this video as a follow-up to the previous video that I have already made on the subject. Extended RAM is a scam. So let's get to it. Now, let me start like this. Let me approach the subject like this. I think this is how it will be easier for a lot of people to understand. Let's say your smartphone, you have a 64 gig or 128 gig smartphone, that's storage space, internal storage space, and you've got that. Or let's just put that aside. Okay, let's go with something that's easier, 32 gig storage space. Right now, we all agree that 32 gig storage space in this day and age really isn't a lot, because by the time the operating system is going to consume, at the very least on my brother's smartphone, he has a 32 gig RAM smartphone, and operating system will take around 12 gigs of RAM possibly out of that, right? What he's going to be left with is something around, what, 20 gig of internal storage. So that's basically not a lot to work with, especially nowadays that apps and games are getting bigger, right? So one of the things that a lot of people would do would be to introduce an SD card. That's what a lot of people would do. They would introduce an SD card just so that they would be able to, increase the amount of storage space that they have. Now, if you have internal storage plus SD card, micro SD card, and you say, let's say you have a 32 gig internal storage and a 32 gig micro SD card, does that mean that you now have a single entity of 64 gig storage space? Yes, there is a total. If somebody were to ask you, I have 32 gig of internal storage and 32 gig SD card, so 32 plus 32, that would be 64. But does that mean right now that your 32 gig SD card that you use to extend your storage space, is it a part of your internal storage space? The answer is quite clearly no. Absolutely not. Because the SD card is a separate entity from the internal storage, and all it does is that most of the stuff, because most people want on Android now these days, or like in the past, on Android now, if you want to have any app, or you want to install any app on your phone, all the app and its associated data, OBB files, whatever, have to be run off the internal storage and not the SD card. So basically what most people do is that they keep, what I did myself and most people do, is that they keep their important apps and data on the internal storage, and they keep all photos and videos and multimedia out and leave them on the SD card. That's what most people do, because quite clearly you cannot run apps off the SD card. They have to be in the internal storage. It's the same thing here. Now, what most people think when they hear extended RAM is that they feel that somehow, by some magic, by some technological voodoo, the 2 gig RAM phone that they have, or the 4 gig RAM phone that they have another storage RAM space miraculously added to it. Because you see, if you do not take note of these advertisements, they can be very, very misleading. You see, 1 second a company is touting that they are the first to have 16 gig RAM, whereas it's basically just 8 gig RAM main RAM and then 8 gig RAM extended RAM. So think of it like this: when you hear the term extended RAM, think of your main RAM as your internal memory, your internal storage, and then think of the extended RAM as an SD card. When you combine those two together, they do not become one entity. They are still separate entities, right? So if you want to know more about virtual memory or extended RAM, I've already done a video on this topic explaining it top down, so you should probably watch that. You should go and watch that maybe after this, or you could pause this video, go and watch that, and then come back, and then what I'm saying right now would make a lot more sense. The extended memory or the extended RAM is not a part of the main RAM. It is very important to make that clear, so that you don't fall victim to all these marketing gimmicks that are flying around. Extended RAM is only a swap space where, if your RAM is full, apps that are running can be moved out of your main RAM and kept there temporarily until they are needed. You cannot run apps off the extended RAM. Think of it like this. Let's say you have 2 gigs of RAM and 2 gigs of extended RAM, quote unquote, that most people would want you to believe that it's 4 gigs of RAM. If you have a game like PUBG, for example, or eFootball, for example, that requires 2.5 or 2.8 or yeah, thereabout amount of RAM space to run, you see that the limitations of your 2 gig RAM, where it could not run PUBG, even with the swap space added, it is still 2 gig RAM. It will not run PUBG, it will not run eFootball. Why is that? Because that swap space is a different, the extended RAM of swap space is located on your internal storage. It is nowhere near the RAM. It is located in your internal storage. So there is no way you are going to merge internal storage and the RAM module together. It's not possible. The extended RAM only serves to help your phone multitask, its daily activities. And even at that, it is very limited to the size of the main RAM. Because I tell people, okay, fine, if you have 2 gig RAM space, 2 gig RAM phone, it's okay to turn on your extended memory, but it is only going to help you a little bit with multitasking. It is not going to improve the overall performance of your phone. It's not going to turn your phone into a 4 gig RAM phone, right? Now that one is one side. Now if you have a 6 gig RAM phone or an 8 gig RAM device, why would you need extended RAM? Because with 6 gigs of RAM or 8 gigs of RAM, your phone already has all the multitasking space that it will need. Then that would render extended RAM obsolete, because you don't need it. It's just there. I mean, I use a 6 gig RAM device myself, and I have around 3 gigs of extended RAM, which would then like total my smartphone to about 9 gigs of that's 6 plus 3. Or if you want to listen to those people advertise, that's 9 gig RAM, but I don't need it. So that would make extended RAM for me irrelevant. So which means that for those people who actually need it, 2 gigs of RAM, it's not going to be a lot of improvement somewhat. And for those people who already have a lot of RAM, they don't need it. So I really don't get what the craze about this extended RAM is all about. Because there's really nothing there, because I see people go to town about it. Your phone get extended RAM. Does your phone have extended RAM? Actually, yes, mine does. I don't use it. I don't need it. So this whole madness about extended RAM, I think it is very misguided. Right? If you are buying a phone, I would say it in this day and age. Yes, I know money is hard and things are crunchy, but if you want to buy a smartphone in this day and age, please make sure the device you are getting is nothing less than 4 gigs of RAM, and make sure that it houses a mid-range processor, something like a Snapdragon 680 or Helio G85, or if you get an older phone, it should be nothing less than Snapdragon 662. I'm just saying, if you're going to go the Exynos route, the lowest you should go is maybe Exynos 850, or if you're going the Unisoc route, Unisoc T606. I'm just saying. I am just saying. It's just a suggestion. You don't have to take it as gospel, but I'm just saying. I know everybody's pocket is not the same, but if you're going to be getting a phone, make sure it's a mid-range phone with at least 4 gigs of RAM. It's very, very important. 4 gigs of RAM, please, and pretty please. That way, this whole extended RAM bug won't catch you, and then you can run most apps out there as your SoC would allow. I don't know if if I pass this message across. I know this video does come across as a bit of a rant, but maybe when I'm editing this, I'll probably laugh at it myself too. But with that, we've come to the end of this video. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Jeffrey. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share, etc., and I will see you in the comments as well as in the next one. Bye bye.